So in the last video, I mentioned the work breakdown structure. Well, let's dive into it because this is something you can use in your daily life. It does not have to be a project. You can do this for anything. And it's very useful because you get to identify things that you might have overlooked if you didn't do this. So what you see on the screen is an example of a work breakdown structure. They don't have to look all fancy like this. They could just be written on a scrap of piece of paper. It can be anything. But this is a web application for Hometown Bank. So first we're going to write down, see that pink bars there? Requirements gathering, design, creation, testing, hardware, customer acceptance, and wrap up. These are the major tasks that we need to complete. And we put numbers in there to kind of show the order of how those are. But then go underneath those. So under requirements gathering, we have 1.1. The first digit is signifying it's under requirements gathering. The 0.1 shows it's the first one of the sub work or breakdown underneath that. So we have the request for proposal response. Then we have hardware requirements, network requirements, software requirements. And that's all we got under there. Then we have design. So we have the same 2.1. Then we get down to 2.5, but then we have 2.5.1. We have database and software. So 2.5.2 is software. So we have another breakdown underneath 2.5 because the class diagrams, we need to break them down even further. So you see how this is going so far? So we want to have a work breakdown structure depending on how big your project is of, let's say, if your project's a year long, perhaps you want to use 1 week's worth of work as a breakdown. So if something is going to take longer than a week, maybe you want to break it down and see, okay, what part of that is, okay, if it's going to be 2 days for this part of it, 3 days for this part, 4 days for this, break it down. If it's going to be like a month, maybe you break it down into number of hours. It really depends on how detailed you want to get. Yes, you can probably get really detailed in, let's see, that's 5.3, integration testing. You can probably get really detailed into that. But do you really need to? In this, it's a work breakdown structure. Because you're going to use this to make a Gantt chart, which is our next step. So let's take a look at the Gantt chart. So this is building a Gantt chart. Hopefully you've all have seen this. Sometimes it's called a waterfall chart. So we list all the activities for a work package. You remember all the other ones from the last slide? Well, we're going to put them into a time frame here based on how long each one takes. So we're going to build our work breakdown structure. So that was that last slide. You saw everything there. Create an activity schedule. Well, how long is each one going to take and what ones depend on each other? You know, which ones need to be started before the next one or run concurrently? That one's going to take a little bit because it's going to help you with step number 4 here. You're going to display the activities in a bar chart format. So here you can see that 3A and 3B both start on Monday, the 23rd of January, but they end at different times. But number 4 can't start until 3B is finished. So you see how you can see some dependencies here. Hopefully this is not that confusing. If you reach out to me and I will definitely explain this better for you one-on-one. But let's go ahead and try to write, let's do a work breakdown structure for a writing project, right? Let's give that a try. So you can think of a paper you need to write. So why? You want to help other students make the most out of their internships. You also want to build brand equity as an expert. Okay, so you might be an expert in internships. And you want to brand yourself as that. So you want to build that equity. All right. Sounds pretty good. Some of you might be looking for internships, so this might be relevant. So what will make you win? So the scope, provide practical, first-hand, easy to digest tips. Okay. Schedule, go to print within 6 months. Okay. My recommendation, if they were coming to me with this, is actually put a date. Because a date is more concrete. It sticks in your head a little better. But we'll keep moving. Budget. You don't want to put any money into this project. Rather, you want to self-publish using crowdsourcing platforms such as Kickstarter. Okay, so you want to have other people fund your project. So your budget is going to be what other people give you. All right, not bad. Who? So you are the author. So who is also known as your stakeholders. So you are the author. So you're a stakeholder in your efforts. So you have a friend who has previously self-published and has offered to coach you. All right. So you have someone who is interested in your success. Excellent. That's great. You have a mentor now or a coach. All right. A crowdsourcing contact. All right. So you got someone to help you walk you through that process, it seems, at Kickstarter. Excellent. A publisher. Good, because they want to make money too. So yeah. An editor. The editor might be with the publisher, but in this case, it's listed separately. So this might be a separate person. Your sweetheart, your significant other. Yeah, they want to see you succeed, right? Of course. So what are you doing? So you want to do a 225-page hardcover book with a beautiful cover and interior design. Not bad. All right. So you got very specific, 225 pages, and it's hardcover. Okay. So your whoops. All right. You earned less than the needed funding from crowdsourcing. Ouch. All right. Your friend may not be as helpful as you hoped. Okay. You are busier at work than you had planned, and you just got engaged. So you might need to upgrade your sweetheart to a fiance. Now, of course, these documents are living documents. You can update them. All right. So there's a lot of things there going on for the whoops. Those are your risks that you try to mitigate. All right. So what about a mind map? Why don't we go ahead and do that? So your project sub deliverables. So it looks like you got 5 here. So to create your book, you need fundraising. You need writing, editing, proofreading, and the physical book creation. If you get all those together, they should come together and make the book. Interns Making an Impact. All right, not bad for a title. Yeah, so, but if you were to break out fundraising, are you only going to do Kickstarter? Or are you going to maybe tap into a donation from the parents? Maybe there's a grant, maybe a writing grant through local library or something. There's a lot of funding sources out there. Writing. Do you have a goal of how much to write per week, a day? Editing. Are you editing as you're going, or are you just putting words down on paper and so it's going to be rough when it gets to the editor? Proofreading. So who's going to do your proofreading and your physical book creation? That's going to be the publisher. So yeah. Not a bad mind map. So I would expand more off of these, which we actually do here. So the physical book creation. So we have registration, cover design, printing, and interior layout. So yeah, we're doing good here. But let's go ahead and do a work breakdown structure for this book project. All right, so we have interns making an impact. So we have number 1 is writing, 2 is editing, 3 proofreading, 4 fundraising, 5 physical book creation. All right. So under number 5 there, we got 5.1 registration, 5.2 interior layout, 5.3 cover design, and 5.4 printing. So here's your work breakdown. That wasn't hard, was it? Now, you could do the mind map. You can go ahead and do the others, the 1 through 4. It's not that hard. You do this in your head. This is just putting it on paper. So we're going to actually move more into the Gantt charts in our next video. So I look forward to talking to you there. All right. See you soon.